good morning. It's lovely to see you, beautiful being. Here we are. It is so windy outside. This happens at this time of the year. These are the equinoxial gales. And everybody gets a bit tired of them, but this is what happens in spring in Wellington. You get lots of isobars and they race through Cook Strait in one direction or the other. It's like, oh, can we get over with this already? My main beef with it is that my magnolias flower and then they get ripped to pieces by the wind. But what are you going to do? Complain? I don't think so. So we get to be inside with rocks, and there is never a problem with that. And I got to start with this one. I thought I was going to start with this one, but I'm going to start with this one. Good morning, beautiful people. I can see you coming on. So I have a little label for this. This was brought back to me from Tanzania, however you say it. Amy, good morning, by a massage therapist. Good morning, Jim. And from Tarangere Safari Park, this is mica. And look at it, isn't it sparkly and gorgeous? And of course, you can see that this grows in flat sort of. There you go, it's clearer there. Mica there's just absolutely layers. And they mine it and they make tiles with it and everything. And he just picked up a piece. Because I told him, when you're there, if there's any rocks that want to come to New Zealand, then pick them up and bring them. And he's sort of aware of energy, so, he bought me some rocks, and this is one of them. So there it is, and it's so sparkly. And the other side is just as sparkly. Is it Sengers or Chengers? I'd love to know how to say your name, because I always think, it's nice to say somebody's name correctly. So if you want to spell it out for me phonetically, it's great to see you. All the way from Turkey, oh my God. It blows my mind that I get to talk with amazing people all around the world. So here is something sparkly and beautiful. Mica from the Tarangere Safari Park in Tanzania, or somewhere around there. Because my massage therapist, I think they sort of went across the border. I can't remember. They did a safari tour. They're going back. They fell in love with the place. This is the other rock which I'm just enjoying. This is quartz. No prizes for knowing it's quartz. You can see the hexagonal points. And it's milk quartz. Again, no prizes. And it's beautiful and sparkly, and it's got these little points growing up the sides of each point, little sort of structures. It's a little bit like pineapple quartz, and it's beautiful. So there it is, and that's what put up its hand to say hello to you today. I don't just pick up a rock because I think, oh, that one would be interesting. I kind of wait until something speaks to me. So there it is. So, putting that down now. Now today, this post is actually dedicated to my dentist. And I'm going to see if I can get say, hey, I did a post that's a little bit, not about you, but inspired by you. Jenny, good morning. And the story goes like this. My dentist is awesome. He is a really, really good dentist, and a good dentist is priceless. Because, you need to get your teeth looked after, assuming that you're in the situation where you can, which is, not assumed, right? But I'm blessed, I'm able to do that. And so, you have checkups and hopefully there's nothing needs doing, which is getting better and better because my health's improving and I'm getting smarter about things. But this guy's amazing. He's young, he's hungry, he's ambitious. There's things he wants to create in his life, and he is a fantastic dentist. He's really, really good. I have no qualms about going to see him. I know that I'm going to be treated with respect and care, and I know that, nothing's going to hurt. It's really nice. They pretty much do say, pick me up, Jim, or they resonate, or there's something in me that says that one. And I'll be over one side of the room and I'll go, no, I have to go there and pick that thing up. So it's like that. I just feel a pull. That's how it works with crystals. So this lovely young man, and we had a little time because I had a second appointment with the hygienist. Why not do them, one on top of the other. And we were chatting, as you do. And I can't remember how we got onto this, but the conversation became, what are you wanting to do? What are you wanting to achieve? I think he'd asked me what I was doing. Hi, Sammy. Hi, Laurie. Yay, Facebook's telling me he's on. And long story short, he is a cosmetic dentist, and he's awesome. He replaced a couple of worn-out fillings for me, and it's just the most beautiful work I've ever seen. And he has a passion for doing things really well. And, you come back, you sit in the chair, and he checks and says, I'm glad to see you've looked after my fillings well. It's like, pride in your work. Exactly the kind of person I love to work with is somebody who's passionate about what they do and does it really well, because they're just not happy if they don't. So just awesome guy. If anyone's in Wellington wants a really good dentist, message me. I'll tell you who he is. Don't want to completely expose him, but he's awesome. So you see, and I had this idea that I was going to create this amazing device to revolutionise the industry. But then I found out a year or so ago that, someone had already done it. It was this big company with lots of money, and here I am. I'm just starting. I think this is his first sort of, he's not the owner of a practice, but he's working in a practice. So he's building up from zero, having just, come out of Otago School of Dentistry with, qualifications and probably debt and all of that stuff. And so I wanted to do this, and I had, I really want to work it up so I can work 3 days and then have 4 days off and earn a certain amount of money. And at that point I said, so what you really want is freedom. Oh yeah, freedom. Now that lit him up. And this is the thing, this is what inspired this, because I have done exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing of thinking, okay, so he has this path mapped out in his head, I think, about how much he has to earn per hour, and doing it as a dentist, it's going to have to be like this, and I'm going to have to be this amazing specialist, and he will be. That's what he continues to want to do. And he's got a path mapped out in his head, but it's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort, and he's just geared up for that. And so was I. Right? So was I. The only programming I really had about work is that it wasn't going to be interesting. I wasn't going to be passionate about it. He's a long way ahead of me. And it was going to take a long time and a ton of work to get what I wanted. And the thing is, I didn't even really know what I wanted. I didn't know that for myself, I suppose, what I wanted was freedom. He knows he wants freedom, really. But he's framed it in terms of, it's this kind of practice, it's this kind of thing, it's got to look like this. Because if you've chosen a profession, you can logically and analytically and sensibly look at all the possibilities and say, well, this is the path I'm going to choose. And that is the expected path. And you sign up for that, and you know that this is how it's going to be. And it's like, I can see my whole life mapped out in front of me. But if you get a curved ball and somebody does the thing that you think you're going to do to make it all turn out the way you want, suddenly it's like, well, my options are fewer. And I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to have to work really, really hard and find some other way to do it, right? And it's a bit of a bind and a bit of a passion killer when what really lights you up is freedom. Yeah, I want to be excellent. I like to help people. I like to do things really well. I like to take satisfaction in my work. But, So this is what I did. I long history short, I work with energy. I learned how to do Reiki. And I mean, Reiki, people think, oh, Reiki, rah, rah. But Reiki's actually amazing. Shannon, great to see you. And I sort of had, the lights went on. It's like, oh my God, this is universal energy, and it's kick-ass. And so I started this practice, and, and I was doing all the normal things, except I didn't want to do all the normal things because I couldn't drop what I was doing and go and start a practice and get clients, all of that. For various reasons, I didn't do that. So my options were even more limited because I was still working. And then, I launched into the Telesummit business and discovered that was a complete failure for me. But I still had this idea that I was going to be working with clients, swapping hours for dollars, and that was the way to do it. It wasn't until, a year and a half ago, 3 years, I started working with my first mentor. I started to get the idea that what I really wanted to do and be was somebody who somehow made a massive impact on consciousness, on people. I love seeing people elevate, grow, transform, heal, whatever word you want to use. Mary, good morning. That is what lights me up. I always used to struggle with the thing, oh, make a vision board and put a pretty house on it and a car, and it's like, oh, leave me dead and cold. The stuff doesn't do it for me. None of that inspired me. Nothing inspired me. Even the idea of earning a ton of money did not inspire me. I didn't realise what was inspiring me was being free to make an impact. That absolutely floats my boat and puts rocket fuel in it. So it took me a lifetime to realise that. And I started to connect with it, when I started working with my mentor about 3 years ago now. The thing that came to me was, I want to be the Mother Teresa of the coaching world. Because my whole experience was, there's all this shit that I would love to do, but I don't have any money to pay for it. And I'm frustrated and I'm feeling lack. And so, of course, what we experience in our lives is frequently what we want to solve. Because we empathise with other people who are going through the same stuff, right? So I had this vague idea. And I started doing these lives, sort of, and honestly, on the what was it, the 9th of June 2017. God, it's been more than 3 years now. I forget. Past history gone. I was going to do 21 days, and I just got hooked. I just enjoyed doing it. I found my groove. I found something that I loved to do. For no good reason. I wasn't even thinking, I'll build an audience. I wasn't even thinking really that I was going to make much difference to anybody. I am now. I know that because you keep telling me. But it was just something that I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to do. And what I didn't have time to say to my dentist, but now I'm sort of saying it if he gets to see this. If you do, you're awesome. To find something that I loved was actually really hard because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that it was going to be this, right? I really didn't know it was going to be this. But I had to be open to a different possibility. And for me, unfortunately, because, I just wasn't, I didn't know that was there. It took a lot of failure, and it took a lot of struggle, and it took a lot of banging my head against a brick wall until it split open. Before I finally realised all those things were not going to work and I had to do something else. I just did a 21-day challenge, Jim. You see people do 21 days, like I'm going to try something for 3 weeks. I was going to do this for 3 weeks. Well, so far I've done it for 3 years. And it just, something in me, I wouldn't say it lit up, it just started to burn. It was just, I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. Of course, everyone's situation is different, and if you invested in a career, you're not just going to say, I'm not going to do that, although sometimes people do. They realise they've made the wrong choice. I don't believe that's what, this lovely young man has done. I think he's brilliant. But they realise that sometimes in the middle of a successful career, actually, I've had enough of this. This is not giving me joy. This is not satisfying. And we have to be open. It's like, the thought comes to mind. We have to be open, somehow to open a window to let good new stuff in. And I'm reminded of a friend of mine that I knew at school. I said, was it Louis Pasteur? He let the window in, and he was doing his research about microbes and stuff. And something flew in the window, and it was a penicillin spore. And, it landed on his culture thing with the bacteria, and it killed the things it landed on. You've got to leave the window open for possibility and be aware that there might be stuff you don't know about what you're good at, about what really fires you up, and about how your dreams can come true. Because if you get absolutely stuck in the construct and the idea that it's got to happen this way, well, it's got to happen that way. But if it takes a hold of your life and it sort of, takes the heart out of you, really? Is that worth it? Oh, thoughtfully rebellious. I love that. Great to see you. Great Facebook moniker. Welcome. It's lovely to see you here. So, really, that's what I wanted to say. It takes courage. And it took me courage. I do things incrementally. Maybe that's going to change. I'm not so good at, sudden changes. I like things to change gently so I have an opportunity to observe and to watch and to absorb and to, all of that stuff. But no matter, when you are making a big change in your life, it's going to take courage. Because you know why? You're going into the unknown. Here you are, you've planned your life out about how it's going to be and how your dreams are going to happen, and you have these expectations that the old thing, which most of us don't do anymore, but a good few people do. You grow up, you go to school, you get a career, you buy a house, you buy a car, you pay them off, you retire, and then you have a life. We get bought into that, and maybe there's something else. Oh, and how do you find out what you're good at and where your passion lies? I don't have a formula for that, Jim. It's a really good question, because as you can tell, it took me a lifetime. Half a lifetime, right? But what I can say is that you will know what lights you up. And I've got to struggle with that actually a little bit, because when I was in my, oh God, everything's so freaking hard and nothing works, I just get breadcrumbs from the universe, and that was honestly how I felt. It's like I work so hard and I get shit for it. It's not too far from my state of being, right? My thinking and my feeling and my behaving was really like that. And my mentor used to say, oh, what lights you up? Nothing fucking lights me up. Nothing excites me. It's also hard, right? So that's where I was at. But as I started to just think about it and ponder on it and explore and be curious, and as Joe would say, speculate new possibilities, open up to the fact that there might be something else, you start to get curious and you start to notice, well, I did enjoy that. Oh, that conversation I had with someone was nice. This bit was nice. I didn't like that. And you start to make very fine distinctions about what you actually want. It's like, I'm not desperate for this amazing career. What I really want is freedom. Okay, well, what happens if your freedom comes another way? Can you be open to that? Can you be curious about that? Can you let your heart draw you, like my gut, my feeling, whatever it is, says that crystal today and that one and not anymore. Can you actually tune in and listen to yourself and your desires and your dreams enough to get past the programs, the expected things of how things normally happen? Nothing wrong with those. They work really well for some people. It's what they want to do. But, if you're like me and you're sort of looking around and thinking, oh, hell, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I went to university and got a career in music because I didn't know what else to do. Now, it served me in retrospect, but I was resentful for decades after I quit doing that because it made no sense to me. It's like I just wasted a whole lot of time. I would have been a way better scientist or doctor. I'd been bloody brilliant as a scientist. My father was a scientist. Family of intellectuals, really good brain. God, I could have done amazing stuff, but if I had, I wouldn't be here. And now I really am on a path to creating this huge dream, this huge vision that it just burns, it does. It owns me, what I'm here to do. I know what I'm here to do now. So yeah, curiosity is a good thing, and don't expect it to just come and write itself across the sky and say, this is your purpose, because you might not even be the person who can recognize your purpose yet. Hell, I know I wasn't. If you told me when I was 25 that it was my, what I want to do is shift human consciousness in a massive, massive way, I would have just what? How do you do that? How's that? I would have immediately gone into how do you do that? And how is that possible? I can't see how. I can't see how. That was my big thing, Couldn't entertain a new possibility if I couldn't see a way that it could happen. But, everybody who breaks the 4-minute mile, particularly the first guy, the first person that broke the 4-minute mile had to believe it was possible before they knew how they could do it. The great inventors, the Albert Einsteins and the Elon Musks and the little lady next door who finds a way to fix a problem that nobody's thought of, must have started by believing that it's possible. And fundamentally, we just make assumptions about how things can happen in our lives, and they're so not true. But if you accept them, believe them, and surrender to them, and never question them, never analyse them, think, hang on a minute, do I have to take this path in life? Is this the only way to get where I want to? Well, then it is. But if you open a possibility, then there are more choices. Because, final thing, Sally, salvo, whatever it is, final stone to drop in the pond of your consciousness. Remember, Marcy, good morning. Well, yeah, Linda, you're right in my head. Remember, the possibilities that are available to us are limitless. Limitless, infinite possibilities when you start to connect with and work with and become consumed by the unified field. And the unified field, right, is an invisible field of information and energy that exists beyond three-dimensional space and time, and it contains everything. And so if you can become an antenna and become a resonant match to the thing you want, which is what I'm busy doing and talking about because it actually does work, then you can have what you want. Lisa, great to see you. That's what we're doing. But, you have to believe it's possible. You have to speculate possibility and open up to the possibilities. And that's why I go so deep in meditation every day, as deep as I can go, to get rid of all of this stuff in my head that says you can't do that. Go to the place where everything is me and available and here and now, and, I can do and be what I like. Then I come back and I inhabit that for a day, and then tomorrow I'm going to do it again. So that's what I'm about. And we're out of time. But, in perfect time. I get to be life here. I get to express my completeness in the biggest and bestest that I can be. Skylar, great to see you, and thank you for all of you saying and reflecting back to me the impact that I desire to be, because that's what I'm here to do. And I'm not going to believe what I know is going to come through me. It's a body of work. It's not even mine. It owns me. And when you tune into passion, you start to find it, or it finds you. Could never have imagined it, but it's possible. Just have to be willing to stop being who you've been all the time and become the person that is whatever it is you desire, and then what you desire is going to find you. It's a law. All right, big love. Thank you for sharing with me. Remember, these lives are moving to my Maddie Schaefer Manifestation Coaching next week. They're going to start on Monday. Oh, exciting, Linda. Nothing's going to change. It's just that the live is going to start there and be shared here and elsewhere as usual. And I will see you tomorrow. Big love. Bye-bye.